Paulie, you sound like a boomer out there, bud. Come on,
I am.
man. Come on. Streaming is the future. I've been saying this for a while. When they said when streaming started coming, they talk about the Amazon deal. I was like, this is it, guys. The pay-per-view model is dead and gone.
Welcome, fight fans, to Boxing Scene's top stories here on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. I am George DeMatteis. Just a quick reminder to download the ProBox TV app where apps are available. On the app, you can get the great insights of our world champions. We have Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi joining us here on Top Stories. Well, this past weekend, more than 60 million households tuned in to the fight card, which featured Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Now, if you include eyeballs, you're talking close, or just over 100 million people maybe watched the fight card headlined by Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. All right, Paulie, what does this signify when it comes to Netflix and how much of a player they are in terms of streaming and boxing going forward?
Yeah, I guess, I'm not really a fan of streaming to that degree. I'm kind of old school in that way, but yeah, it seems streaming is the way forward, And if that's the case, you're going to have to get over those hiccups that, we saw that Netflix was having with live events. Netflix is usually not a live event type of streaming service. I know they're getting into now the NFL and a bit of other sports, but I don't know. I felt like boxing was treated as sort of as the guinea pig in this fight, where with the fight this past weekend, where they were going to throw their hat into the live event platform and see how it works out with boxing, and if it works out well, then they'll figure out what adjustments to make for the other sports. They do have plans to do other sports, but I felt like we were the guinea pig, and I wasn't really too thrilled with the way things were handled, and a lot of boxing fans were really disappointed with the way the stream was. If you're gonna do this streaming going forward, you're gonna have to have a service that doesn't jam. We're good. ProBox TV. If you download the free ProBox TV app, we don't jam up, and we run a pretty smooth service here so far. But of course, the bigger you grow, the onus is on you to really make sure that the strength of the stream remains sort of palatable, and then you're not jamming up and freezing and all that other stuff. Because when you're dealing with live events, even if you're not dealing with live events, if I'm watching a movie on a streaming service, I don't want it to freeze on me, man. And that's not even live. But if it's live, you're really gonna miss out on some of the events. So yeah, I guess streaming services all the way forward. I'm not really a fan. But if that's the case, things are going to have to work in a proper way. And we have a streaming service. I can't say I'm not a fan totally. But like I said, our streaming service, ProBox TV, at the moment, we're free, man. As we keep growing, we intend to keep you either low price or free. We want to give you the biggest fights possible. So I feel like we're in it more for fans. They are just in it everybody's in it for money, obviously, of course, but I feel like you have to keep your consumer in mind and satisfied to the proper point. And I didn't like the way Netflix sort of treated everything. We'll see going forward.
Yeah, just want to make it clear there that Netflix says that 60 million households watch the fight. So you're talking about eyeballs. You could be looking at over 100 million people that actually watch the fight there.
How many of those didn't freeze?
Great point. I know.
We didn't freeze here, thank God, on our live stream.
Yeah.
Paulie, you sound like a boomer out there, bud. Come on,
I am.
Man. Come on. Streaming is the future. I've been saying this for a while. When they said when streaming started coming, they talk about the Amazon deal. I was like, this is it, guys. The pay-per-view model is dead and gone. It doesn't work anymore. It was certain acts, certain people, certain fights, it can work. For the most part, it doesn't work. Streaming is the future. That's what television is now. TV used to be free, and that's when the fights were free on everyone to see. Yeah. NBC Sports, everybody watched it. There wasn't many channels. Everybody tuned in. Everybody who had TV was able to watch those fights, and that's why these stars were born. These huge gates were created, and these people made all this money. Now, there's not really regular TV anymore. Even cable, you have to pay for. Nothing's free anymore. And listen, everybody has Netflix. That's kind of TV now. Most people don't even have cable. They just have streaming networks. I don't have cable. I have Netflix, I have Hulu, I have all these other different streaming apps, and that's why I watch my television. That's why I consume my content. That's how most people deal with the world today. So I think when it comes to live sports, and I believe Netflix is moving that way. They did the hot dog eating contest this past summer with Joey Chestnut. We obviously had this fight with Tyson and Jake Paul. I believe they've got WWE starting very, very soon. They're doing NFL games very, very soon. So they're rolling out these live events more and more. And yeah, I agree with you, Champ. I don't think they anticipated Mike Tyson being still such a huge draw, that you're going to get that many eyes. They knew it was going to be big. They did not realize it was going to be Mike Tyson big. They didn't realize that Mike was still that guy. Because at the end of the day, Jake Paul didn't drive those numbers. Mike Tyson drove those numbers.
But Champ, you talk about they had the hot dog eating contest with Joey Chestnut. Didn't Joey Chestnut have a different sponsor and he didn't participate this year?
No. So he was originally going to do the Nathans. He got banned from the Nathans one because he would not give up one of his sponsors. So he then did it on Netflix on his own. So they set up a match basically with him.
Netflix match.
Yes, a Netflix match, which is unrelated to Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Brilliant move by Joey Chestnut. Made a ton of money. Got a lot of eyes on it. Very, very smart move. We're seeing that more and more. This live streaming
But what we're saying is
on Netflix.
Mike Tyson might be a little more popular than Joey Chestnut.
To a degree. Now, I would like to see Mike Tyson and Joey Chestnut in some kind of competitive nature as well. I wouldn't mind putting them two together.
But let's talk about the power of Netflix there. You're talking about 282 million subscribers. It's about, what, 15, 20 bucks per subscription? But even if they don't, each of those subscribers, they took $1 out. I mean, they could put together a big-time money card, Paulie. So how much does that influence boxing to get into Netflix even more? Maybe even challenge Turkey Al Sheikh and Riyadh season in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, if you do that, you can have the fight party sort of like Martin used to have at his house, and he charged $5 for everybody who comes into his apartment, and you have a big fight party,
And then you got me sneaking in the window.
Your brown man from the 5th floor would come in through the window.
Martin used to do it in his building, for the Tyson fights of all things, ironically. So I mean, yeah, you can get people together and everybody can do it. I don't know. I mean, listen, whether we're talking about it or not, it's going to happen. I mean, technology is something a force you can't stop.
But that business of Netflix and all that money there, I mean, that's going to attract all kinds of promoters, right? And as I said, that's good competition against Turkey Al Sheikh and Riyadh season, who have been putting up some good cards with some big money as well. There's that, Chris, is that Netflix kind of the next in line there when it comes to promoting fights and expanding the reach of boxing?
Butts in seats, eyes on the screen. Those all equal dollar signs. Netflix has that. Their model in the beginning was I mean, they were losing money. They were hemorrhaging money early on, but they had a very smart business plan that actually eventually worked out, obviously. Now they're one of the biggest entertainment streamers out there available. So really, they can do whatever they want to do. If they want to pursue live events, if they want to pursue professional sports, which it seems like they are, if they want to pursue boxing, because boxing is its own animal. It's a whole different thing than those other major sports out there. If they want to, they can, and they can be successful at it. They've made so many other things work. But I think ultimately, regardless of whether Netflix leads the charge or not, this is going to be the future of how boxing content is consumed by the consumers.
Yeah, Paulie, let me ask you, who do you think, Chris mentioned that Tyson drove those numbers, those 60 million households. Who do you think was the driving force behind those numbers that Netflix are putting out?
Probably both guys, but yeah, Tyson's a bigger deal than I think people anticipated. There's just a mystique about him. Obviously, Jake always drives big numbers, but you combine it with Tyson, it was sort of genius by Jake, really. I mean, I know Jake's getting a lot of slack for fighting old guys and whatnot, but that's probably the only old guy you're gonna really find that can draw those kind of numbers. So it was something that Jake sort of had to do when you look back on it. But nonetheless, yeah, I mean, it was a combination of both. It was really a big amount. I mean, 60 million households is a lot of people. I mean, I read an article last week where the Thriller Manila got, no, it wasn't Thriller Manila, it was the Ali Spinks rematch, got about 90 million households on network TV. So, and that was the golden age, golden era of boxing on network TV. This is not network TV anymore. It's a lot harder to access, right? Because you got to pay for the channel, and then you still watch it. And then on Netflix, even if you do pay for Netflix, there's so many options on Netflix that you have to actually choose the fight. So the fact that it got 60 million in this day and age says a lot about both guys.
But also, Champ, I think in terms of this model, the fact that you had that many watching it live, right? Because we live in a VOD nation, right? Where everything is video on demand. You don't have to watch. I don't watch my show when it comes out. I watch it later on. If I'm watching Penguin on HBO, I'm not watching it when it comes out on Sunday night or whatever. I watch it when I can.
Everybody wants to see that viral moment live too.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about with sporting events, because it's not scripted, because of that aspect. But also testing to see if it still works with this generation. Obviously, it does.
Yeah, I think Netflix is scratching the surface of their power when it comes to live sports. By the way, you mentioned the Penguin. It's Florida Man on Max. It's insane. Just check it out. It is insane.
That's our neighbors down here.
Yeah, it's our neighbors down here. They make our state look bad. Anyway, we'll see what happens. And of course, Netflix says their influence grows. We will talk about it here on Top Stories. Reminder to scan the QR code, like, subscribe, and leave your comments on our YouTube channel. And download the ProBox TV app where apps are all available, because on the YouTube channel and on the app, you can watch the fight from Ireland as we are going back to Ireland December 7th, Contender Series on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. I'm George DeMatteis, and that does it for Boxing Scene's Top Stories.
ProBox TV Contender Series. On December 7th, look for an all-out Irish war as Dylan the Real Deal Moran battles Tyrone the Mighty Celt McKenna at the top of a stacked ProBox-worthy card.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel.